Right, we are live. Probably don't have anybody watching yet, but we are live. So I'll just give it a few minutes for people to come by if they are going to. Oh, anybody already listening can probably hear the croakiness in my throat. I'm recovering from a bit of a cold. So if I do sound a bit croaky throughout this, I do apologise. It will not be a 2-hour stream tonight. It will be a somewhere between half an hour and an hour stream, I imagine. So I'm not going to stay on long because my voice won't take it, basically. But welcome to the monthly pop culture chat where I talk about anything that has been on my mind, pop culture wise, things that I've seen, things that are news that has broken, about any of the geeky pop culture things. Oh, hey, Jace is in the chat. Hey, Jace. Hey, Chris Bailey as well, who says, hello, good sir. Thank you for joining us. We've got a guest coming on today. Dominic G. Martin is going to be joining us to talk about all of the casting announcements we've had with Doctor Who. He's a Trekkie, so we'll talk a bit of Star Trek as well. And maybe we'll talk a bit of Obi-Wan because we've both been watching that as well. So all of that coming up as well. I will try and read out any chats that come in, but if you want to make sure it definitely, if suddenly the chat goes wild and you really want to make sure that your message gets, there is super chats. You can use them if you want to. I don't expect you to. I will try and read out any messages anyway, but it's there if you want to use it. Right, so without further ado, let's get in Dominic G. Martin. Hello, Dom.
Hello.
You are live. How you doing?
Ooh, live. I'm not too bad. How about yourself?
I'm good. Apart from the cold. I've got a cold. I've actually got Lemsip here. So,
Good.
yeah, to soothe my poor throat. And, we're going to be talking about a few things. For anybody that doesn't know who Dom is, he's a man of many talents. He's got a YouTube channel. You might know him as the Who Chaser on YouTube. Does a lot of cosplay stuff. A very prominent cosplayer. He is in the DW 2012 fan audios as the Purple Doctor, which has just started its new series, hasn't it?
Yeah. So
one episode in, I think.
Yeah, one episode in.
Haven't missed one. That's good. When's the next one out?
Hopefully, either this month or next.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Cool. No solid release schedule, just when it's done.
When it's done, it's done.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That first episode, because you redid the first episode, because you'd released the first episode a couple of years ago, was it?
2019.
2019, yeah.
So with this one, we revamped it, and basically we've done a complete re-edit of it, and the entire second half is basically entirely new footage because we decided, you know what, we'll just refilm it and make it better. And I think it went quite well. The effects have all been redone as well. So
I was going to say the effects, like watching it, you can tell so much time has gone into the effects because the effects are really good. For a fan production, I would never expect effects that good. It's really well filmed and really impressive.
Glad you think so. Glad you think so. It's been many months in the works, that's for sure. But,
many years in the works, even if it's 2019 since 2019. Yeah,
it's 2019. Yeah. Well, I mean, we only decided to remake it last year, so I am very glad that it turned out the way it did. I feel like this new one is the most definitive way to watch it, and this probably sets the series on course for the next few episodes.
Yeah. Absolutely. And of course you are now an assistant producer at Big Finish and a writer at Big Finish as well. So what kind of projects have you got that you can talk about that have been announced? What's upcoming for you there?
So the only thing I can talk about, is that I am assistant producer on the Fugitive Doctor Adventures.
Ah, yes. I remember that being announced.
Yeah,
very exciting. And I know that you are a big Fugitive Doctor fan, so that must have been great to be put on that.
Absolutely. I mean, it's definitely pinch myself every day because I'm really glad to have been given the opportunity. Just hoping I don't screw it up. I'm trying my best not to, so hopefully be all right.
Yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to working with Joe and everyone on the production, and some of the stories that are lined up are going to be just the ones I've seen anyway are going to be incredible.
So is that at the scripting stage at the moment then?
Can't say
You
anything.
can't say anything.
I can't
Your
say
lips are
anything
sealed.
further.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Just having a look in the chat. We've got the reviewer. Have you seen Pink Floyd The Wall? I haven't. Have you? I've heard the album. I've never seen the film.
I've never seen the film. I've seen many people slag off the nostalgia critics version of the film.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it properly myself. I do want to.
My dad was a massive Pink Floyd fan in his youth, I think. So he had loads of their albums, and I remember he had the double CD of the Wall album. So as a really young kid, I used to listen to that a lot because he either had it on or I for some reason really got drawn to it. Probably the artwork on the CD and wanted to put it on, and so I've listened to it a lot, but I've never seen it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. The Celtic Druid says, "Hi, Andrew here from Bargoed, Wales. I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation of that. Bargoed. Sorry.
Need a phonetic translator there. Just like, you'd spell it again. You just give us the phonetics in the syllables so we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because even I'm not sure how to pronounce that either.
Ben Miller's writing with Doctor Who questions, theoretical questions. If you were casting the Rani in the revival era of Doctor who would it be and why? Have you ever thought about that?
No. That's a very good question. I mean, we've already. Michelle Gomez would have been great, but
she's kind of got her role in Doctor Who now.
Yeah. If I were to cast anybody off the top of my head, I don't know with the Rani because Kate Amar was just so perfect. It's just so very much.
Somebody else has played her in Big Finish, haven't she? But I can't remember what the actress.
Siobhan Redmond.
Okay. Yep. Maybe they could bring her onto TV.
Maybe. I hope so. That'd be ideal casting, and I really hope it's Siobhan Redmond because otherwise that would be very embarrassing.
Celtic Tourist says get well soon. Thank you. Yes, it's been ongoing all week. I've just had this cold that won't shift. It's not COVID. I have done tests. Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says, "Hey Phil, I watched episode 1 of Obi-Wan yesterday and the new Fantastic Beast today. I haven't seen new Fantastic Beast. I've seen the first 2 of Obi-Wan. Haven't seen yesterday's episode yet. We'll talk about Obi-Wan in a bit." Andrew Moore says, "Evening all." Evening, Andrew. The reviewer says, "I asked you question." I don't know what you're saying there. I see. I saw it. I answered it. We answered it. We talked about it. Maybe not straight away. Don't be too impatient.
When it comes to live streams, there's always a bit of time because you have to get through a lot.
There's a delay, indeed. Hey, if you want it, if you want your question asked straight away or relatively straight away, do a super chat. I'll go to those straight away. Hey, Jack Alexander's in the house. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Jack. How you doing? The stylish person says hello. Here we go. The reviewer said, "I saw it at 6 years old and never watched Channel 4 until I was 11. Okay, cool. Jack says there was a wall near where I used to live, which some had written Pink Floyd over in big graffiti.
Okay.
Was it a white wall? Because that was what was on the cover. I think it was white bricks. So to get really authentic.
In the wall.
The stylish person, out of curiosity, how much influence does a producer have over the casting of the audios? This is obviously a question aimed at you. Yeah, does the producer?
Okay,
the producer. I mean, you're the assistant producer, aren't you? So you probably.
Yeah,
have less.
On Second Doctor Companion Chronicles, I was the sole producer for that one. Well, for the second 2 stories. On the first 2, it was Ian Atkins, but I covered the second 2. So the answer to that question is, in my experience, none.
So whose is it? Is it the director?
The directors.
The directors. Okay, that's it. That's interesting. Because I used to work in a BBC radio drama, and they're the same in BBC radio drama. The producer and the director are the same. They are the same person. So it's interesting where they're in companies where they're different people, how that is handled and what gets divvied up between them. Because my own experience of it is just that they're the same person. So I don't know which bits of that role that they were doing would go to the 2 different roles if in a different type of organization. So that's quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. I mean, bearing in mind, I am still very much a greenhorn, so in time it may change, but I'm just taking each day as it really comes with the job, and I'm just giving it my all with what capability that I'm performing in. So however it goes will be how it goes.
Yeah, indeed. Hello, the stylish person. They say out of curiosity. Oh no,
We just covered that one.
covered that one. So which? Oh yeah. Hey, here's another question for you. Since Dom is involved in Big Finish, which Doctor would you most like to write for?
I mean, if I was given the choice in an ideal world, just randomly on the spot, being like, "Why? Who do you want to write for?" Then I would have to pick 12 instantly off the drop of my head, because I love Capaldi and I would adore to write his Doctor in an official production. It would be great.
Yeah, mine would be the eighth. I think.
Oh, very nice.
I think I own every single audio that the Eighth Doctor has been in.
That's impressive.
So
that's impressive.
I have, yeah. He's definitely kind of my Doctor in that way, and I own a good amount of the books that were released in the sort of late 90s and early 2000s as well, with him in as well. So Eighth Doctor kind of feels like my Doctor, and I think I've got a good grounding on him as a character that I could write that quite well.
I think you'd do an amazing one.
Yeah, well, I can't say anything at all at the moment. This is not Big Finish, by the way. This is something else. But in a fan capacity, production capacity, there might be something coming up at some point involving the Eighth Doctor. So, but I can't say any more just yet. Yeah, that'll be something to announce eventually. It's an interesting Rani casting suggestion from Ben Miller. Chloe Annette, who those of you that listen to mine and Adam Martin's Red Dwarf podcast will know as Kachansky from Red Dwarf in the latter in series 6, series 7 and series 8, and Back to Earth. And so, yeah, maybe, actually, but I think she's retired from acting now. We actually looked her up when we were recording a recent episode, and hasn't been in anything since I think 2014. So she might have retired from acting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What number would the Purple Doctor be if he was included with the Doctors of the actual TV series?
35, because that is, I mean, it's not official, obviously, but that's kind of like how Luke and I have really, how we would have placed our characters if we were included in official lining. So Luke would be 34, I'm 35. And yeah, it's far off in the distance enough that it doesn't cause any problems.
Yeah.
And also,
let's face it, when the actual series gets to that number, we're going to be old men.
Yeah, we're going to be too old to care.
Yeah. So it won't matter too much.
Yeah.
Jack Alexander's getting in a sneaky self-plug for his Battles in Fandom podcast, which I have been on. And not to brag, but I did win.
Well done.
Yeah, he's saying which of us would win against each other in a Battles to Fandom. I think it depends on the question that we're given.
I think you'd win. I think you'd win. I'm far too agreeable. The thing is that I don't like arguing, and when it comes to that, I have to go full gung ho, let's go. But I'm just like, actually, that's a pretty interesting point of view. I never considered that, and I don't think that'll make for good entertainment. So
no, possibly not. For anybody that doesn't know, Jack's podcast Battles in Fandom is basically it's kind of I think it was based on was it movie fights or something like, I can't remember what the one it was based off on was called, but it's basically debates about which is the best. A question might be which is the best first. One of the ones for my episode was which is the best first Doctor story, and then the three contestants have to pitch why their choice is best, and then debate and destroy each other's arguments and things like that. It's quite fun. So do check it out. Like I say, I've been in an episode. There's other episodes out already. There's more to come, and I think I've got to go back and compete against the other winners at some point. So
champion of champions
should be quite fun. Cool, these chats coming quicker. We will get to the actual topics that we were going to talk about at some point, but let's quickly get through these. How do you YouTubers get more viewers?
Get more viewers.
Yeah,
that's a very tricky thing. It's the algorithm.
Yeah,
really.
I can't remember because I do videos on a whole range of topics, geeky topics, not just Doctor Who. But there's a big stark difference between the views I get for the Doctor Who ones, which get in the thousands, and then the non-Doctor Who ones, which get in the hundreds. So it's clearly most of my audience is here for Doctor Who, but I'm still stubbornly persevering with MCU and Star Trek videos and all the other stuff because I just like it. I don't care if they don't get many views.
That's the thing. As long as you enjoy it, that's the main thing.
Yeah. And I think it's just, being like for things like reviews, if you can get it out as quickly as possible after the episode airs. So that's how I first, my first videos that did quite well were when I was reviewing Doctor Who, like within half an hour of it coming out and trying to get it up and online within an hour. So because then that's when people were kind of like searching around and finding, what, and similarly with if you want to cover breaking news, the quicker you can get there, if you're first and people are searching for that news, then they're gonna find you if you're the first one there. So it's kind of, for things like that, it's kind of speed, but a lot of it's luck as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you suggest a villain called Lord Dorman for Big Finish?
Gonna need a bit more than that.
Yeah. Lord Dorman.
A doorman?
A doorman?
A doorman?
Or a... is that your surname? Is that why you want it? The reviewer.
Would you like to become a lord? I mean, it is the Jubilee weekend, but I'm not sure we can grant it for you.
So apparently I've got to beat Josh Carr in another round of Battles in Fandom because Josh won the second episode, but I don't think we've had a third episode yet, so there'll be at least another person in there, I think.
Sometimes.
Which unmade Doctor Who story would you most like Big Finish to adapt?
That's a very good question.
Unmade Doctor Who story. So one that they planned but didn't make, I guess.
Have they done the Nightmare Fair? I can't remember.
I think it might have done.
Yeah, I feel like they've done it, and I just haven't listened to it. But that was a concept that immediately struck to me. Nightmare Fair. Just doing a quick Google. Doctor Who. The answer is our survey says, "Oh yeah, it's been done several years ago, mind you, but it's been done."
Yeah. Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment wants to know: are you doing any work on Call Me Master?
Nope, that's entirely the marvelous work of my wonderful friend Heather Challens. So she is covering that.
Excellent.
She'll be amazing.
Andrew Moore says, with the country celebrating 70 years of the Queen, it just shows how culturally important a show coming up to 60 years really is. Yeah, 70 years.
When you think about it, it's lasted almost as long as the Queen's reign. That's quite something.
That is crazy. She's seen a lot of changes over her reign as Queen. Like you think, from the 50s to now, so much has changed. But then there's the one thing that's there all the time, mostly, apart from some breaks, and that's Doctor Who.
We don't.
And Blue Peter. And Blue Peter.
Oh, and Blue Peter. Yeah,
of course. With the return of classic Doctor's New Monsters, I'm very excited about that set. I love a classics monsters new Doctor set. This year and next, which classic Doctors would you like to face off against a new monster?
That's a good question.
Which ones haven't been done? Well, as I said, I'm always up for an 8th Doctor story. So, although the more he gets included in stuff, the more I have to buy, which is it's like
Monkey's Paw.
Yeah, you worked on the Peladon set, didn't you?
Yes,
because that had the 8th Doctor in it. So of course I had to buy it. I was already probably going to buy it because you worked on it, but I was also I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll wait a couple of months. I won't buy it when it first comes out because I'm a bit short of cash at the moment. And then they announced that the 8th Doctor was in it. I was like, no, okay, I'll get it now.
Had to be done. To be done.
Yeah, I don't know. 8th Doctor with somebody, but I don't know. You know what?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you first.
I was going to say, it would just be kind of fun. I don't even massively rate them as villains, but the Slovene...
No, I was going to say the Slovene I was gonna say Slovenia gets the Sixth Doctor.
Actually, yeah, that would be better. Yeah, Slovenia gets the Sixth Doctor is a better shout than Slovenia gets the Eighth. So I'll give you that. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Jack's got a suggestion. Hear me out. Classic Doctors, new Masters. New Doctors, classic Masters. Yeah. Interesting.
That could be cool. That could be interesting. I mean,
that could be good.
I don't think there's too much mileage you could get out of that, though, given that there's like, we only have one class. No, we have technically. Is Peter Pratt still alive?
Yeah, but don't forget, you got John Coleshaw.
Yeah, true.
Who can do the voices. Yeah. So
yeah, I was just trying to work it out in my head.
So he doesn't have to be the original actors or anything. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Okay. We can work with it.
We can indeed. Right. Let's actually go to talking about what the topics are that we were going to talk about. By the way, if you're listening, do me a favor and hit that like button. That really helps. Thank you very much. And if you're not already, subscribe. Why not? And let's talk about the castings, because we've had a lot of castings for the 60th, we presume, or the Russell T Davies era at least. And the first of those was, of course, Ncuti Gatwa, who, I'll bring his picture up on screen. I completely butchered how to pronounce his name when I made the news video. So that is the one bad thing about getting videos out quickly when there's breaking news. I didn't I was in such a rush to get it out that I didn't research how to pronounce his name properly, and I was calling him Ncuti or something like that.
A lot of people fell into that trap to begin with. I mean, I had to look up a few videos of him just to see what his name was actually pronounced, because I knew, just because of the way his name was, I knew there was going to be something that was going to scupper somebody in terms of pronunciation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hadn't heard of a silent N in a language before. Obviously, it's probably a thing. He's where is he from originally? It's Rwanda, yeah. So maybe it's something in the Rwanda language that I just wasn't aware of. So hence why I assumed that the N was pronounced. But I now know it's Ncuti, and I will not get it wrong again. I still, however, I'm just realizing this as I saying this, that I still haven't fully worked out how to pronounce Yasmin's last name.
Yasmin Finney.
Is it Finney?
I believe it's Finney.
Finney. Or okay, Finney. That's all right then. Good. Okay, Finney. That's all right then.
I could be wrong, and I could have just led you on a straight path though.
Yeah, maybe. So this announcement kind of came out of nowhere, because we weren't expecting an announcement at the moment, I don't think. Well, maybe we were, because they were going to start filming, but it wasn't. It kind of struck me as like, oh, they've announced it suddenly, and like my phone's gone mad. What was your reaction to it when you first saw it?
I was like, wow, okay, cool, awesome. I was very much like, I wondered in which direction they were going to go. Was it going to be another man? Was it going to be another woman? Was it going to be a non-white doctor? So clearly I was just like, oh wow, they actually gone with a non-white lead doctor, which is it's extraordinarily cool choice, I think. So I was very happy. I was very happy about that. I mean, I do still have issues with how they handled Joe Martin, obviously. Yep. But the thing is, I feel this is at least some way going towards correcting that lack of foresight. So, I think he as well is an exceptionally talented actor. And I've seen some of his work in Sex Education, not all, but just watching on that alone, whilst I know that gives absolutely zero foresight into how he's going to play the role, because he's not going to play that role like that, I think he is extraordinarily talented, and I look forward to how he performs.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen him in anything. I haven't seen any of Sex Education, and I'm still in that kind of I'm undecided if I want to watch Sex Education before seeing him as the Doctor, or going completely blind. I'm not sure what would be best.
Yeah, that is a good question, really, because, again, it doesn't really give you any insight into how he's going to play the Doctor. But it gives you an insight into how he can be as an actor.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tricky decision. I mean, if you just want to see him, I would recommend giving it a go. And it's also a good show.
Yeah,
So,
it's one of the shows that I'd like heard so many people raving about even before this ever came up. So it was one of those. It's one of the many shows that has gone on a list of stuff that maybe one day I'll get around to watching because it sounds like people really like it. But there are a lot of shows on that list that I just don't have time to watch. So yeah, maybe I'll check out the first episode or so, and see if it's something that I will continue with. It's sort of teenagers in high school type thing, isn't it?
yeah, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be interesting. I'm still undecided. I'm gonna stew on it a bit more. But in terms of it being I've seen a lot of places that seem to like, in terms of media outlets, confuse slightly their wording here because they've said, "Oh, it's the first black actor to play the Doctor." And then of course people go, actually I think you'll find Joe Martin played the Doctor, but but what they mean is the first person to play the lead, I guess.
Yeah,
because Joe Martin, and that was that. Am I right in thinking that was kind of your issue with Joe Martin? How they handled Joe Martin is that she was kind of brought in as this kind of side, like Doctor, but not really the proper Doctor type thing.
Yeah, it was basically that. I mean, you've introduced an incredibly talented black woman to play the first black Doctor. And what do? Yeah, she's just there for like 10 minutes of screen time as the Doctor across all the episodes that she's been a part of. And it's just very deeply frustrating, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But what does the representation in Shooty's casting, does that mean a lot to you? Is that important?
It's very important because once again, it's another barrier broken down about who can play the Doctor.
Yeah.
And this reinforces it. So it truly reinforces the fact that the Doctor can be of any race, any gender, anything really. And that's all you really need. That the Doctor is now a universal role.
Yeah.
Anyone can play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still the one barrier that I would be that I would be like, oh, really? Is if they cast an American. I still can't an American doing a British accent might be okay, but I think an American doing an American accent would somehow be really weird as the Doctor. And it's bizarre because I can imagine other non-British. It's not that it has to be British. It's just that there's something like, or an Australian would be weird as well. But for some reason, I don't know why, that just seems still like, oh, an American as the Doctor? That's not right.
Well, that's the thing. It's still an entirely different kettle of fish. That
yeah, but there's no logical reason why it shouldn't be. It's only like kind of like, well, it's a British show, so it's kind of
that's just the it's ours. We should keep it like that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm sure if it ever happens, I'm not going to be like, I definitely wouldn't be like, oh, I'm never watching it again now they've cast an American. But I would be like, it would take a bit of getting used to hearing an American accent come out of the Doctor's mouth. That's, I think.
True. I mean, we've already had the Master, so
that is true. Yeah, and that still takes a lot of getting used to even now whenever I hear Eric Roberts as the Master. Although I will say I have enjoyed him a lot more in Big Finish than I ever did in the movie. So
his Big Finish stuff is great. I really like it.
Yeah, especially when he's up against other Masters and just hearing them play against each other is really good. Like in that in the box set where you've got all of the Masters and just hearing him interact with them and the way they all of them actually, the way they kind of just snipe at each other is great. I love it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just going to go back to the chat quickly, see what I've missed. Where did we get to? Oh, you're a Sonic fan as well, aren't you? Because Jack's asking, what are you more excited for, Sonic Frontier or Pokemon Scarlet Violet? Are you a Pokemon fan?
I like Pokemon a bit. I mean, I'm not anywhere near as much of a fan as my obsessive other half is, but I do like it. I've played it from time to time. However, I'm a Sonic obsessive, so I have to say Sonic Frontiers.
I saw the extended gameplay trailer to that, and it looks it looks kind of like Breath of the Wild. It looks like
Hmm.
Link Breath of the Wild, but with Sonic in. Even with they've
Yeah.
got the towers and everything. It's kind of open world thing. But it looks quite interesting. I'd be willing. Oh
It's
yeah,
interesting.
give it a
Yeah,
go.
it's been in development for 5 years, man.
Wow, yeah, God, that's a long time.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah. What else we got here? We've already said that. We got some suggestions for who classic Doctor's new monsters who they should fight. So first Doctor against Swarm and Azure, Ben Miller suggests.
Ooh.
Eighth against the Midnight Entity. Oh, that's a good shout. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a very good shout. Actually.
Jack also suggests Jonathan Carley for Delgado.
John.
We got
love
somebody
Jonathan
watching
Carley.
from New Zealand. Tony from New Zealand. Hi, Tony.
Hello, Tony.
How's things down in New Zealand?
Hope it's all going well.
And the review said I wanted Adrian Scarborough so he could be Ginger.
He's never going to be Ginger.
I think what the Doctor needs to realize is that hair dye exists, and he can be Ginger anytime he wants to be Ginger. He just
Yeah.
needs to dye his hair.
It just needs to actually pluck up the courage and get some dye.
Yeah. What's Dom's depiction on how Jodie will regenerate? What do you think, or would you like Jodie? How would you like the regeneration scene to go down?
Well, do we know if Jodie's going to regenerate into Shooty?
We don't know. Because, of course, there is the other casting announcement that we've had recently, which is, of course, that Tennant is coming back, and Catherine Tate, and Bernard Cribbins. That's the wrong Bernard Cribbins picture. There he is. So there's that theory that maybe he does regenerate into. Maybe all those rumors about David Tennant being the 14th Doctor are true. I always said that they were rubbish rumors and that no, he's not going to be the 14th Doctor. But maybe he is, just for one special, and then he'll regenerate again, or maybe even a couple of specials. So, do you want? Is that what you would like to happen?
Well, like is a strong word. I would like traditional regeneration, Whittaker into Gatwa. However, the one side of my brain is saying they're gonna pull a sneaky on us, and that's how it's going to occur. It's going to be like Whittaker back in. By the way, you got a spammer in the chat.
Oh yeah,
got Whittaker into Gatwa, then Gatwa into Tennant. Is how I think is. No, sorry, Tennant into Gatwa. That's how I think it's gonna go. But I'm open to anything. I just hope it's handled well.
Yeah. I'm up to see what they do. I would kind of like to, if we're going to get Tennant back, I'd kind of like to see him interact with Shooty. So to do that, it would kind of have to be him coming in as either, I don't know, a future incarnation or a past incarnation, or somewhere in the time. I think it's either. I don't think it's a Tennant. Given what we've seen, I don't think it's a Tennant that slots in somewhere between Waters of Mars and End of Time.
No, he looks too different.
Too different. Sonic's different. There's just too much different about him.
Yeah.
But it could be the Meta Crisis Doctor. Could be an older version of him.
I mean, it would explain the aging and the different outfit.
It could be an alternate universe.
It could be that as well. It could be that.
It could be a future Doctor, because we know he revisits old faces, like the Curator.
The old favourites say.
Yeah. So maybe he's the 26th Doctor. Who knows?
It could be. You never know.
Yeah. So
Which will only be an issue when they actually get to the 26th Doctor.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. They'll just. We'll have a little.
It'll be the Valiant all over again.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do there. That'll be intriguing. And I must admit, Catherine Tate was never my favorite companion at the time. I think she annoyed me on the first Christmas appearance. I just found her quite annoying, which is kind of what her character is meant to be. So
yeah,
in a way, it did its job, but that kind of left a kind of tar on her when she came back in the series for me. But having gone back and rewatched it, older and wiser, there's a really nice story arc for her in that series 4 of going from that really annoying kind of personality at the beginning, and then you get to sort of see her develop more, become more empathetic, and
Mm,
by the end of it, when she loses her memory, it's really heartbreaking because she's had all this growth and then she loses it.
yeah.
So she
Yeah.
actually has a really great story arc. So I've come around to her a lot more than I used to, but I used to be like, why does everybody love Donna so much? I don't understand it. But I understand a bit more now. She's still not my favorite companion, but I get why people like her now, and I'm interested
Yeah.
to see what they do with her as well, given the memory loss and all of that.
Yeah. Don't really have much leeway in terms of the memory unless she somehow gets it back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we know from the filming that she does interact with the David Tennant, whoever the David Tennant is
Yeah.
playing. Um, there was another theory I saw that maybe David Tennant isn't playing the Doctor; he's playing the Master pretending to be the Doctor, which is another possibility.
Another possibility, but one I don't feel is quite as likely.
No, it's probably a bit too complicated for like too much. There's probably too much going on there.
And yeah, and it'd be very soon after the Master's appearance in the centenary as well to just suddenly have him
Mm,
in the 60th anniversary now playing the Doctor without any sort of continuity, I guess. I don't know.
maybe, maybe, but there we go. I am excited about Bernard Cribbins coming back, to be honest, because
Oh, I know.
love Bernard Cribbins. He's
He's literally
great.
legend. He's amazing.
I still haven't met him in real life, so I don't know if he's going to be at LFCC. But if he is, I need to go and actually go meet him because I need to meet him. He's just great. I've got young kids, so they watch CBBS and things, and he's got a show on there that he must have recorded years ago, which is him as an old sailor with a dog telling stories, and it's the
Oh,
most adorable thing ever. So it's great. He's great, and of course he's got such a long history with Doctor Who because of course he was in
yeah.
those. He's in one of the Peter Cushing Dalek movies as well
Yeah,
as
the
a
second
companion.
one.
Yeah,
It was is a remarkably long connection, but it's really all come full circle.
yeah, that's good. So are you happy to see David Tennant back, or are you like because there are some people that have the criticism that he's a bit overused because he's been in a lot of stuff over the last few years.
That's
Obviously, you
fair.
kind of expect Big Finish, you expect past Doctors to be featuring quite heavily. That makes sense because
Yeah.
that's what they do. But
Mm.
he's also been in a lot of the comics, the video games, and everything else, and featured quite a lot. And there was that Time Lord Victorious event built up around him. So, are you what's your take? Do you
I'll just
think?
say this. I will consume David Tennant Doctor Who media until the day I die.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why they do it because they know
Yeah.
people will.
Yeah. I'm sorry. He's my childhood favorite Doctor. I can't help but just love his incarnation and his performance. Um, and I just, I'm delighted to see him back. I'm really
Mm.
delighted. And I'm delighted that he's never really left the role as well. I
No,
mean, he
well,
had
he's such a
yeah.
fanboy himself, isn't he?
Mm,
That he just delights in coming back and doing more stuff, which is
yeah.
great.
Whether it be video or audio. That's
Yeah,
great. That's
and
awesome.
that is he's the actor that has been most enthusiastic outside of the show itself about doing
Yeah.
extra stuff and coming back even after he's been the Doctor and referencing it and doesn't he and it hasn't held back his career in the slightest. The fact
No,
that
it
he's
hasn't.
willing to keep on coming back. So I think a lot of actors might be worried that okay, I've done that now. I don't want that to be like what
Mm,
everybody automatically thinks of me of as. So I'm going to try and steer clear of it for a while.
basically, no. But
And
no,
I
he's
suppose he did that
yeah.
for a few years, but
Yeah, just to take a breather from
yeah,
it. And then Day of the Doctor happened, and then he just took another breather, and then he came back with a big finish in 2016.
yeah, yeah. That was a great announcement that they got him for that. I remember that. That
Yeah,
was they got David Tennant. Amazing,
it
amazing.
was a great day.
It was indeed. What's happening in the chat? So Tony says Tennant as the 14th Doc for one ep, then in Gatwa, or is he alter universe? Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about earlier. All those
Mm.
possibilities. Who knows?
Mm.
Um, we keep on getting Sonic questions, so I'll slip them in. Who would Dom like to voice Shadow in Sonic Movie 3?
I mean, I'd love if they pulled a Tails and got Jason Griffith, who was the Shadow voice actor from 2003 to 2010, because he's the best voice for the character. But I would also, if they had to go for a Hollywood big A-lister, Robert Pattinson.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, that'd be cool.
He'd be really cool.
That'd be cool. I'm not like a mega Sonic fan like you. I mean, I have been in the past, but like we're talking like 90s. In the 90s, I had the Mega Drive games. I collected Sonic the comic. I had posters all over my wall with Sonic the Hedgehog on. But then I kind of like the last games I really played were those Sonic Adventure games. No, I don't know. I played Sonic Heroes. I played Sonic Heroes all the way through.
Cool.
And so that was the last one. But those Sonic Adventure games, which introduced Shadow, of course, they were kind of like the last big, like I remember being like really into Sonic. So that's kind of like my era as well. So I'm really like looking forward to seeing what they do with Shadow.
Same here.
Given the,
he's my favorite character of the Sonic verse. So yeah, I just hoping they do his story justice, because it's a very deep story.
Did you ever play his solo game?
Yes.
Is it good?
No,
No.
But I love it anyway.
It's one of those things where I bought it secondhand for like £2, and I've still never played it. Like
Honestly, it's
15 years ago I bought it. Yeah, I probably should have got around to at least putting it on once or something. But it's one of those things where it's because it was so cheap, I never really thought that I was wasting my money by not playing it. But
it's an experience, I'm telling you. I mean, the game doesn't have a very good reputation, but I love it to death. Even though I know it's not very good, but I still love it. It's great.
Yeah. Ben Miller thinks that Tennant is the Meta Crisis Doctor being pulled in from Pete's world and into the main world. Yep, it's a possibility. Tony says 26th Doctor maybe, but what about Tate and Wilf? By the way, Tate is my favorite companion, except for Sarah Jane.
Good taste.
Yeah. Well, I think it's quite clear that they're the nobles are basically from where we left them off, but so many years later. I think that's probably the only way they can do that. Yeah. So I think, especially Bernard Cribbins is a lot older now. He's more frailer. He was on set in a wheelchair. We don't know if that's just so that he doesn't get tired while he's between scenes, or if he's going to be in the scenes as well. But
I think it's in the scenes because he was. Yeah, I won't spoil it, but okay. I think it's in the scenes.
Fair enough. Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment says John Sims Master is in the 60th. Is he? Where are you getting that information from? Yeah.
Citation needed.
I think that's a rumour at best. It would be great if he was. I do love John Sims Master. Tony was also more excited about Cribbins coming back than just about any of them. He will knock 4 times. Yeah. So, of course, with the Noble Clan, we then have the theory that the other casting announcement we've had is also part of the Noble Clan, because we've had Yasmin. Sorry, remind me how to pronounce her name.
Yasmin Finney.
Finney. I don't know why, but I keep on going to say Finney, but that's not right. Doesn't even have the right letters for that. What am I doing? Yasmin Finney, who is playing Rose. Intriguing. Why is she called Rose? Why is Russell T Davies writing another?
Tyler.
It's not Rose Tyler. It's definitely not. But spoilers if anybody doesn't want them. So put your fingers in your ears for the next couple of minutes. But from the recording they were doing around Camden the other week, the people did and recorded the audio. You could hear her shouting "Mum" in a scene which had Donna and her family there. So I think it's quite obvious that she's going to be Donna's daughter. A result of the marriage that we saw at the end of Donna's last episode. And so she's another exciting bit of casting announcement. Again, somebody I'd not seen in anything before. She's been only one thing, I think, which is that Heartstopper, which I haven't seen. Have you seen that?
No, but I've heard it's very good. It's much in the same category as Sex Education, really.
Yeah, and they're both really big streaming hits at the moment. Which so it's I I mean, they will have got cast on their acting abilities, obviously, but it can't hurt that they both come from the two of the biggest streaming hits on Netflix at the moment, which will hopefully then bring a swathe of new audience with them, because they'll have gone, oh, that person we really like in that show that we really like is in this new thing. Let's go check it out. And they're both really big shows at the moment on that streaming service. So that's good. Any thoughts? What were your initial thoughts on this casting announcement?
I was, I mean, I haven't had much experience with Yasmin's work prior, so I'm very open-minded into seeing how she performs. In terms of the character, I think it's very interesting but it's also a good amount of depth to give Donna a daughter. So I'm very much looking forward to it, because it's that progression for the character, just seeing how things have gone, how their lives have changed since the Doctor left them lives. It shows a massive amount of growth, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they address that. It's not really else much I can say about it other than I'm just looking forward to it, because they haven't really told us much apart from what we've seen. So
no, and this is another one where I think the press got a bit ahead of themselves in assuming stuff, because there was lots of reports, and I did put a question mark when I made my video about it, but like companion, they've never not said she's a companion, so we don't know if she's a companion or she's just in the one episode, or if she's a recurring character but not a companion. We just don't know. So she might not be the companion. I think it would be great if she is the companion. Imagine if she's the companion, and we get like a 2-generational companion team with Donna.
Two nobles.
Yeah, 2 nobles in the TARDIS. Or even if Donna doesn't come along, then you've got, it's kind of like a passing the torch type thing onto the daughter. I travelled with the Doctor. Now it's your turn to travel with the Doctor. That's quite nice too. I like the idea of that. So yeah, that could be interesting. And of course, if she is a companion, then again, this is an area where Big Finish led the way, because she wouldn't be the first transgender companion, because Big Finish has already done it in Stranded. Doctor Who Stranded, the 8th Doctor box sets, which of course as an 8th Doctor fan I have. And you had Rebecca Root in that playing a companion, Tanya. And so that kind of ground has been broken in audio, but if she is the companion here, it would be another kind of like big first, great for representation and all that sort of stuff. So I kind of hope she is the companion, if not for a little while, for many reasons. That I love the idea of the multi-generational thing. That's just something that Doctor Who hasn't done before. Which
it'd be great.
Is always good for them to try new things. Sorry about the spammer in the chat, everyone. I don't really actually know how to stop it, but there we go.
Should be able to block it, I think.
Yeah, I'm
going
through Streamlabs, and I don't know how to do it through there.
Well, if you open a tab I don't know how streaming works, so it's just like I've never done
Maybe
one.
I could just block the user.
Account,
I'm gonna
use your phone.
Oh yeah, I could do. I know I'm using my phone as my camera. I don't. I got my iPad. It's all right. I got.
There we go.
There we go. Let's try that one. We'll do that.
There we go.
Keep talking.
Yeah. So, Doctor Who's Magical Entertainment asks, which Doctor's voice would suit Sonic, Dales, Knuckles, and Shadow?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
That's a very interesting question. Now, for Sonic, it's got to be David Tennant's voice, because he would.
Yes.
He's got the right energy.
Yes. Yeah. Although, I don't know. I think for Tails, Sophie Aldred, because she does voice acting in terms of cartoons and stuff already, and she does a lot of like.
She played Dennis the Menace once.
She's played Dennis the Menace. She plays a character called Treefoo Tom on a series that's on CBeebies. She's played these like young boy characters in cartoons already before, which is kind of what Tails is, and so I think she'd be quite good.
It should be great. For Knuckles, I would probably say Colin. He's got that right power and energy to his voice while still having a youthful vibe.
Yeah.
And for Shadow, of all the Doctors, I'd say probably Capaldi.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was the
Thought that's sort
question
of menacing
Doctors or Doctor Who
Yeah, it
actors?
was Doctors.
Oh,
It
it
was
was
Doctors.
Doctors. That so my Sophie Aldred one doesn't count. Sorry about that.
One universe it might do.
Right.
But yeah, so and Ben Miller's managed to block the spam.
Oh,
So he's managed to do something
That's
about it on his end. Now it's over to you, Philip.
yes, I'm reporting them now. It's fine.
There you go. Messages deleted.
Unwanted
It's all good.
content or spam. There we go. All reported. Hopefully they'll disappear now.
Yeah. Lovely jubbly.
I've never had to deal with spam bots before, and yeah,
was the first time for everything.
there is indeed. So yeah, that's all the casting announcements for Doctor Who that we've had. Very exciting. Let's move on to another area that I know you're a fan of, Star Trek. You are a Trekkie, and there is a few shows out recently. I know you haven't managed to see all of them. You haven't seen the newest Star Trek Picard. Have you seen any of Star Trek Picard? Have you seen the first series?
I've seen the first series and I've seen the first episode of the second.
Okay, cool. The Star Trek Picard. I'll just briefly, because I didn't do any reviews on that one, has been a little bit of a narrative mess, I think.
I've heard things. I've heard it started out strong.
Yeah, I'd say it did.
And then it just
First two episodes were great, I think, but then it kind of took a bit of a nosedive, and it was just just don't think it was structured very well. There were narrative dead ends, things that they set up and then went nowhere. There were whole episodes where there was kind of stuff that happened that was like at the end of it, you're like, they ended up exactly back where they were at the beginning of the episode, and it hadn't progressed anything, and it was just a little bit weird. I think they tried to cram too much into it, and it ended up a bit of a mess, which is a shame. But I mean, I would still recommend watching it if you're. I'm a completist. I have to watch them all. So if you're like me, don't like go, oh, it's going to be rubbish, I won't watch it. It might not be as good as some of the other series, but you still got the nostalgic factor. You got Q back, which is always fun, and things like that. But then there is the other new series, which is Strange New Worlds, which is currently 5 episodes in. I believe you watched the first one of them.
Yeah, I've seen the first one.
So let's talk about that, because this spun off of kind of Discovery, because these 3 characters, the main leads, number 1, Una, who is named after a Doctor Who writer, a book writer, Una McCormack. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Because this is a character that was just called Number 1 in the 60s, because she was part of the original pilot that never got made, which had Pike as the captain instead of Captain Kirk. It got made but never went to series, and then they did a new pirate with a mostly new crew but just kept Spock. And in that, she was just this character was just Number 1. She didn't have a name. And then in one of the novels, because Una McCormack writes Star Trek novels as well, she wasn't writing that novel, but in one of her fellow writers decided to give Number 1 an actual name and named her after their fellow writer of Star Trek novels, Una McCormack. And then that stuck, and they've actually stuck with it, because they could have easily, because it was in a novel, they could have gone, no, we'll do our own thing. But they actually stuck to it and have called her that in the show as well. So that's the nice little thing.
I think that's wonderful. That is really sweet, actually.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then, so you got the kind of main 3, Spock, Pike, and Una, who had been in Star Trek Discovery, and then we get the rest of the crew as well. What do you think of that first episode?
I thought it was really good. I've really enjoyed it. I thought that the way it reintroduced the crew was really solid. I really enjoyed how they brought Pike and Spock back into the swing of things. We're getting used to the Enterprise, the new uniforms, and then get their first mission back, which was sort of an espionage mission. So I thought it was a really, really good. I thought it was a really good introduction to the series, and it felt very much in that ethos of classic Trek.
Yeah, because it is very much a, whereas a lot of all of the modern Treks really, apart from the animated ones, the animated Lower Decks has been like big overarching stories, especially with Discovery. You've had a story per season. Every episode is kind of tied into that story somehow.
Yeah.
There's been a mystery box that they need to solve, and which can work. And sometimes I think it's worked to varying degrees with Discovery. Sometimes it's worked quite well. Sometimes it's less so. But I would say the one it has got a little bit repetitive with Discovery because they're doing almost the same thing every series, which is like there's a mysterious anomaly out in space and they're trying to work out what it is for half a season. And so it's got a little bit repetitive with Discovery. So to go back to this kind of more classic episode of the week, adventure of the week type thing is quite nice. But they're also, it is still a modern TV series. So they are still threading in these kind of character story threads.
Yeah.
So it's not a big mystery box, not a big world ending thing they're trying to solve over a whole season. But there are, characters are going to, you can tell with this series that characters are going to change and develop, which you didn't really get with classic Trek.
No.
Apart from with Deep Space Nine, which is still my favorite Star Trek series.
It's very good.
What's your favorite Star Trek series?
It is between DS9 and Next Gen. I really love. I mean, DS9, I'd say, wins on a quality perspective, but TNG wins on a comfort perspective because it's just solid television. I mean, we're going to get past season 1.
I was gonna say about season 1. I was like, solid television.
Yeah.
The late.
Yeah.
Once you get past that bit,
ignore the first bit. It's very good. But I do love the original series as well. I do. It's so much fun, and that I believe, Strange New Worlds has kind of captured that fun ethos about it, whereas the others like Picard and Discovery have gotten a bit grimdark in some places.
And I think they're probably, personally, I think there is a place for that within Star Trek, but I think you need the light to balance it. So
exactly,
you need to have, because even when Deep Space Nine was on the air, and that was a bit of a darker show because you had the Dominion War and everything, and it was a wartime show, so it was naturally going to get a bit darker. But at the same time that was airing, you either had the last few seasons of TNG still airing, or once that had ended, Voyager on. So you had the kind of more lighter show to balance the darkness. So I think that's what this show gives us. Strange New World gives us that lightness so that we can have this sort of slightly darker thing in Discovery or Picard. And of course, we've got even more lighter stuff in Lower Decks, which I love. Have you seen Lower Decks?
Yeah, I've seen a bit of Lower Decks. I think it's really good.
It's so hilarious. I love funny. It. It's brilliant.
It's crazy.
It was my favorite of the new Trek shows from sort of this century. But this Strange New Worlds might overtake it because I'm 5 episodes in. There hasn't been an episode which I've not liked yet. Every episode has been top form of all 5 episodes.
Brilliant.
So
it's 10 episodes altogether, isn't it?
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I'm not sure. Which means I'm halfway through. That's a bit sad.
Oh.
Well, I do miss the days when we'd get 20 odd episodes a season, but
yeah, I feel like those days are dead.
Yeah, that's just not how TV is these days, but that's fine. That's fine. I suppose better to have smaller amounts of better quality than, increase it and then them have to scramble around for ideas and you get filler episodes that aren't as good and stuff. But the not the episode I watched today, but the episode before this for Strange New Worlds has it's a really tense episode. I won't give you any spoilers, but it has a kind of
there's the one with the Gorn, isn't it?
Oh, you have some spoilers already. You have some spoilers already. Yes, and it's kind of this whole. It kind of feels like that section of Wrath of Khan where the 2 ships are kind of.
Oh yeah,
it's a whole episode of that kind of tension and that kind of thing, and it's really good. It's really well done. That's probably my favorite episode so far of the series, but there hasn't been a bad episode so far. And it's really nice to see it kind of go back to that. Tony in the chat is also absolutely loving Strange New Worlds. So if anybody else out there watches Star Trek, let us know what you think of Strange New Worlds. I don't think it's actually on in the UK yet, so I need to cough and take a drink.
Think
My
of your
voice is
throat.
starting to go. Yeah, but yeah, I'm really liking it, and I'm looking for. It's going to be on Paramount Plus when it launches here, so I'm watching it via
Oh,
other
yeah.
means. But
It's gonna be good to have it like available legally.
yes, that is good because I want to pay for stuff legally if I can.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
it's not available to me, then I will
It's-
obviously wait and not do anything illegal.
exactly. It's on them.
Yeah.
What everybody. Anyway, let's change the subject before we get arrested.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we said we were going to also briefly talk about Obi-Wan. I haven't seen episode 3 yet, so no spoilers for episode 3. But what are you thinking of Obi-Wan so far?
I'm loving it. It's really good. I'll be honest. Just before I came on this live stream, I'm halfway through Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah.
So just watching that back, and you can see how all the thematics connecting to that movie in particular, and it's really nice. It is really good viewing.
I always thought that Ewan McGregor was one of the best things in the prequel trilogy, so it's really great to have him back.
Absolutely.
And I think it's been about the right amount of time. I think even in an interview I saw recently that he said like I never would have wanted to do this like a couple of years after Revenge of the Sith. I needed that gap, and you did. And
Yeah.
I saw a strange thing. Did you see the thing that was going around up at Twitter? Lots of people were sharing it about somebody posted like, how does he go from this to this, and how he looks, oh god, what's the actor's name?
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness looks like in New Hope in 9 years, and I'm like, and pretty much everyone was like, yeah, that's fairly close. That it's not that strange to go grey. Basically, was all he'd need to do in 9 years.
He's in a very stressful part of his life.
Yeah,
And he's under 2 blazing suns. That's gonna age you up pretty quick.
Doing some hard manual labor by the looks of it, cutting that meat off. Yeah, doing some butchering work in the middle of a desert.
Somehow, I don't think Obi-Wan has time to maintain his skincare routine.
No. And under all that stress, your hair's going to go grey quite quickly. I've noticed my hair starting to go grey. It's very stressful.
Oh, I've encountered some greys in mine. It's like, oh god.
It's kind of at the temples and in the beard at the moment. I'm just getting a few whites and a few greys. Ugh. There we go. You shouldn't be going grey yet. You're so young.
I'm 27. I'm not that young.
Yeah. I'm 37 this year. So.
Oh my god. I retract my previous statement.
10 years on. I've got 10 years on you.
Oh god. You don't look it.
Thank you. So sweet. I got a baby face. That's why. If I didn't have the beard at all, I'd probably look even younger.
Yeah, true.
What's people saying in the chat? Went back and rewatched. Oh, still on Star Trek. Went back and rewatched Star Trek, the original series. The Menagerie adds some great context. Yes, of course, because that was the episode where they used footage from the unaired pilot, which had Pike and Una in, and incorporate that into a story about Pike. Yeah, that's really interesting because Pike knows that he's going to be in that situation and in that chair, horribly disfigured and unable to speak. So he, that's interesting. It does add some context. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no spoilers for episode 2. I'm watching that next week. I don't know if you're talking about Star Trek or Star Wars, but okay, no spoilers for episode 2 of either of those shows.
It's all good.
Ben Miller says Star Wars prequel trilogy seems to be getting a new appreciation. Have you found this? What were your previous thoughts of Star Trek's prequel trilogy? Like,
I still think the first one is very iffy, and Attack of the Clones is still flat out bad. However, I do still think that Revenge of the Sith is easily the greatest piece of media to come out of the 20th century.
Oh, okay.
It's 21st century. I'm only kidding.
Okay, I thought you were serious there.
No, I'm not that serious. No. No, I really enjoy. I've always really enjoyed Revenge of the Sith. It's always been one of my favorite movies, but because it's just extremely entertaining. there were some very clunky elements about it, and some of the dialogue that George wrote, bless his soul, is just terrible. But it's still really fun,
Yeah.
and it's more fun, I'd say, to watch than the previous two, because Phantom Menace can be a bit boring. Attack of the Clones, it's just not enjoyable in places. It's just drags, and the characterizations are just like, ugh. But Revenge of the Sith benefits from those refined characterizations, better acting from everybody,
Yeah.
and now including the Clone Wars, it's got so much context behind it. If you include Obi-Wan, it's got so much context in front of it between that and A New Hope. So it's easily, I would actually put it and say, is probably my second favorite Star Wars movie, right behind Empire Strikes Back.
Okay. I'd say I remember when I came out of the cinema to watch it when it first came out. What was that? 2006 and 2005. And I came out and I remember saying to my friend, I think that's the best Star Wars film at the time. On later rewatches, I've reassessed that and gone, okay, maybe I was just caught up in the hype, because it's not quite that good. No. But I still think it's a good film. Again, like you're saying, marred slightly by George Lucas's inability to write any dialogue that sounds like it's actually coming from a human being. but it's, I think it's a good story, and George Lucas was good at world building. He was good at creating imaginative worlds, but I don't think he's very good at the dialogue aspect of it.
No, he can't really do romance well either.
No.
I would honestly say, if he had left the directing and writing of the prequel trilogy to somebody else, but he did all the story elements, like
he could have plotted it out.
The plots. Yeah, here's where it needs to go. It would have been honestly probably one of the greatest trilogies ever made. But as it stands, not so much.
Yeah. The last time I watched episode 1 was when they did the 3D cinema re-release. And I remember going with a friend of mine. I went with my wife and my friend. There were 3 of us that went, and and throughout the whole film, me and my friend were just constantly sighing throughout the film, going, and just because there were so many moments where we were just like, and my poor wife was just like, why did you want to come and watch this if you're just going to be like, I was like, yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. To me, it's just mostly a really boring film.
Yeah.
Episode 1. Yeah. There's some exciting moments in it, like the Duel of the Fates battle is obviously very exciting. But like I see some people really like the pod racing. Let's race some audio programs. No, the pod racing, but I always even from my first viewing felt that went on way too long and got boring. So it's just mostly a boring film with a couple of exciting moments.
It is.
And then, so it was my worst Star Wars film for most of my life until the last one came out.
I will say Rise of the Skywalker. Easily my least favorite of all.
Talking of the sequel trilogy, Ben Miller asks, do you think George Lucas should have directed the Star Wars sequel trilogy? No, I don't. I just think they should have stuck with one director, not George Lucas. Just stick with one director with one vision for the 3 films, and because part of the problem was like you just had
J.J. Abrams came in.
J.J. did his thing.
Then Rian Johnson came in
and went, then, I'm going to upend a lot of this. But then J.J. Abrams comes back, and goes, well, I'm going to ignore most of that. And
upend all of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no consistent through line throughout the trilogy. And that's the biggest problem with it. I liked Force Awakens-ish, but I did feel it was a bit derivative.
It was New Hope again.
Yeah, basically. Which, it was an okay film by itself if you took it just by itself, but it was basically just New Hope again, which was a bit boring. I did really like The Last Jedi. I'm one of the people that liked The Last Jedi, and I liked what Rian Johnson did with that. And then the last one was just a mess.
Yeah. I've re-evaluated The Last Jedi in recent years because I came out being not very much a fan, but now I think it's definitely the best one of the
Yeah.
sequels.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but somehow, Rise of Skywalker just dropped the ball spectacularly.
Yeah. So I don't know what's worse because, like, the George Lucas one prequel trilogy, they make sense. Even the boring ones are kind of like there's logic and it
Yeah.
makes sense as a world.
The story works.
Yeah, the story works, even if it's done a bit boringly, even if
Yeah.
the execution isn't great, the story works. But the sequel trilogy and the last film just doesn't at all, and it's a narrative mess. So I'm like, what's worse, being really boring or having a lot of exciting stuff but being a complete jumbled mess? What's worse?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't tell either.
I don't know if episode 1 or episode 9 is my worst Star Wars film, but it's one of those two.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Honestly, it's fair picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to decide. I think that I will say I think Rise did more damage to the franchise as a whole, in like bringing back Palpatine pointlessly, chucking away what was possibly a much superior script that would have been directed by Colin Trevorrow, and just going with all these sorts of weird fanish elements to it that just didn't see a point for.
Yeah. Odd.
It was just a mess.
It was. But we have veered off of talking about Obi-Wan. Going back to that, Tony says Obi-Wan's shaping up to be the best Star Wars TV show yet. Just watched episode 3, the one I haven't seen. Yeah, I think so. Because what have we had so far? We've had The Mandalorian. We've had Boba Fett. Is that it so far?
Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and I believe
we've had that Visions thing.
Yeah,
that's
Visions.
Not really part of the. That's outside of the continuity, I think.
We're gonna get the Ashoka series soon as
well.
Yeah,
yeah, but no, I think you're right. I think the Obi-Wan is looking the best so far. I did really like The Mandalorian. I didn't mind Boba Fett. Some people didn't like it, but even the slower episodes, I quite liked the slow pace of it. I didn't mind what they did. Like, some people didn't like the decisions they had Boba make, and I didn't mind them. But it wasn't as good as The Mandalorian. And this is looking like it's going to be even better. I loved. I can't talk about episode 2 spoilers. So, but I loved what they did in episode 2, and who they involved in episode 2. That I wasn't expecting to be this series.
Yeah. I'll exactly say the same for episode 3 as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I need to watch that tomorrow. I'm not going to have time to tonight. Do you think? Oh no, that's what I've already answered that. Would Ewan McGregor make a good Doctor in Doctor Who based on his performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Absolutely, he'd be great.
Yeah,
but he's too big now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, would he have made a good Doctor had he not been a really famous actor already? Yeah. Should Ewan McGregor ever play the Doctor now? No. Exactly. I mean, maybe in like a kind of like a War Doctor-esque type situation, but not as the main Doctor.
No, it's a special one, maybe, but nah, he's too big for the show now, and he doesn't need to go to it.
No, but he would have him as an, and I think he would have, him as he is now would have been good, as opposed to him as a young man. That probably wouldn't have worked as well, I don't think.
Train spotting era Ewan wouldn't have worked.
No. But bearded Ewan does.
Yeah.
Given the full beard and everything. Tony thinks so, though. Ewan is a Doctor? Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. My voice is really starting to go, so I'm going to start wrapping this up, because otherwise I'm not going to have any voice left tomorrow.
Oh, no.
But thank you for coming and joining me and chatting about all these things, Dom. It's been lovely to have you. Thank you for everyone in the chat for joining in and chatting along. And don't forget to like the video if you will. That would help it massively. And I'll be back next month at first Thursday of every month. I do these to talk about anything really, news, anything pop culture, geeky pop culture. So it's often Doctor Who, sometimes Star Trek, sometimes MCU. You know, all the things I talk about on my channel. So do join me again next month in July, my birthday month. So come and join me for my birthday month live stream. And thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. I'm gonna hit the end stream button in a second, but I don't want to do it too early because then I think I get cut off mid-sentence because there's a weird delay. So
Oh no.
I'm just gonna like slow motion go to the end stream button. Bye everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.